Makes me want to go do it myself. Yeah, I know. Not far away.
This is just I've been reading 2 years this summer. This year just started.
Yeah, because I learned the books. I was like, man, the books would be good, but if I can see them later,
I saw those, I got one.
Are you doing camera? Where are they? She's busy or sick? She's doing some cramming.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's the hardest part, I think, putting the writing on there. And then, of course, I guess it's everybody's own technique as to how much they focus or put the background. It's what? But I mean, I think you can still do Zoom yourself. The Zoom, I think is. What's going on with you?
I think it's down south.
There was something down
If I ever get any small win off that darn lottery, I always stop and get my dollars together. Just in case. Can't win without a ticket. And a bucket ain't gonna kill me.
I've got 9 extra tickets.
Yeah. Sorry. Back of your head really feels
shiny and glaring. Maybe this stuff I can since it's all
No, I think that I'm. No, I just thought, I thought they could sit together, but it doesn't seem to me that's gonna happen.
Or razor blade. It should be soon. They're late.
Looks like the movie, that's the
I better do a quick review here.
That's not the, you know, but the text is
Any
in.
neat words.
We're out of those, the text is there.
Well, it's like, a lot of words that
Sorry.
So this is an empty card. Is that coming? Is that okay for you? They'll have to give up like that. Maybe they won't. Well, enough. They have some here, have some around, we have some extra check. So this is these two are.
I had a party at 12 for 7:30. I had a party at 12 for 7:30.
Thank you. Would you like outdoor dining?
All right.
흉내는 천천히요. 댄젤라. 댄젤라.
It's not that. Is he turned on?
Yes, I did.
댄젤라. 댄젤라. What happened?
He didn't say he was going to stay by the mic.
Huh?
He said he might have gone to the other room because he was not going to talk.
Yeah, he's
He's there. But
we just before I came, he called me because we need to test today.
yeah, they did
Sunday.
earlier already.
But now still a little bit. Okay. Continue. But it's lots by the door is maybe come over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Angela.
路边ですね。
Take it there.
No.
Oh yeah, tan this one.
No.
Tan da le da tan ding can do the nghe xin là ठीक.
拉的这种是。
对吧？
拉的给。
Oh, that's good. Namo Guru Me Namo Vedaya Namo Dharamaya Namo Sangaya Namo Guru Me Namo Vedaya Namo Dharamaya Namo Sangaya Namo Gurube Namo Vedaya Namo Dharamaya Namo Sangaya Maya Samaya Gyame Sheniraya Bhaya Roshi Maya Jaya Maya Ga Namaya Kaya Maya Goyani Soya Soya Raya Re Yaya Kaya Shaya Gyaya Wa Teya Samaya Jaya Ve Yamaya Laya Shaya Taya Lo Teya Ta Gaya Te Gaya Te Paraya Gaya Te Paya Raya Saya Gaya Te Boya Te Soha Te Gaya de Baya Raya Gaya de Baya Raya Saya Gaya de Baya de Soha de Ya Da Gaya de Gaya de Raya Gaya de Raya Saya Gaya de Moha de Soha. Gare dong ra je je chong da men de ne be jen da de wang dang tu mo de jen be zong zo je ne ta ge de jiang de de ne zhong sa ye be je zhu ye me do zhang ma zhe ro le ye ne de je mo de sang ye jen do me de bu wa ye zhou wen nam da jing Che Balai Cho Idam Guru Rana Mandela Nia Daya Me Sang Je Che Dong Zo Je Cho Nam La Shan Jo Bandu Dane Shab Sun Che Ta Ge Ju Ju Je Be So Nam Je Do Lo Ben She Sang Je Do Bar Sho Sang Je Che Dong Zo Je Cho Nam La Shan Jo Bandu Dane Shab Sun Che Ta Ge Ju Ju Je Be So Nam Je Do Lo Ben She Sang Je Do Bar Sho Sang Je Che Dong Zo Je Cho Nam La Shan Jo Bandu Dane Shab Sun Che Ta Ge Ju Ju Je Be So Nam Je Do Lo Ben She Sang Je Do Bar Sho Voilà, je n'ai que tant de personnes qui t'ont dit que 토자라 남에 방향다바 저비 상지지 공부를 뭐 있는지 더 보자고 페토브라 샤위 체도 담배 초여를 뭐지 세냐 베고는 상주지 셈지 제 셈베고는 셈버죠.
Let us cultivate the altruistic motivation seeking complete enlightenment for the sake of liberating infinite kind mother sentient beings, and for that reason we cultivate bodhicitta motivation, and with that kind of motivation we should participate in the teaching.
당가란 쪽에네 산지지 공부 누구래 세상 산지지 공부 누구 셰발라 아니 다 체질을 가지고 돼야 각오를 봤어.
I believe that we are all seeking Buddhahood as our ultimate spiritual goal, but it is rather difficult for us to be able to achieve that within one lifetime.
손자한테 더 세워 주니 세워 심하지 심하지 봐 아니 말한 소리 땡 장보지 더에 되게 In this
respect, it is important for us to make efforts to be able to find fortunate life bases such as the one we have now in our successive rebirths, so that we are able to continue our spiritual practice and development.
That's in Delangarantanda. 미르틴 톱 안에 산지 지tembattan 게 최단 게 기라케와 삼비슈레스.
In this life we have been very fortunate indeed to have found this kind of precious human life, due to which we have been able to meet with qualified spiritual teachers as well as the precious teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha.
Ina ta shawa shamala karayun ta mayun ta ngara tanta pe the any chendi thola pe te shawa jumar ma juni any tawe ten zangbo ki thoyate tangara zu zogu ver tanda.
But in order for us to be able to find this kind of fully endowed human life that is characterized by freedoms and enriching factors, we have to make efforts and create the necessary causes and conditions to be able to have this kind of life in our future lives.
Manye pardos lam cho droba sanji kompa droba shepala ane chenyi chang tengi thogu gores tati matona endigi amar te dubthya amar soncha chenyi chang te manye pad sashe meomes ti masang bi jora labs ane te zambo dre shava shama te zambo dre thoya ke te juti tanda sago gores kanu
Manjushri Lama Tsongkhapa or Rinpoche has stated very clearly in one of his works, as Geshe quoted the stanza from his memory. He said, in order to accomplish the highest spiritual goal, that is complete enlightenment or Buddhahood, it is of utmost importance for us to see that we find what is called a fully characterized suitable life basis to carry on with our practice. If we do not find such a life basis, then it would rather be very difficult for us to be able to make significant progress on our spiritual paths and grounds. And by understanding that, we should make every effort to be able to create the complete necessary causes and conditions to be able to find a fully characterized, most suitable life basis for spiritual development towards complete enlightened state.
Tati karresana masami bijo karresana gosum diktum tme bagwandi lapor religion ne cheves ran sosu luta ngata yisumbotes tamage nyomu bi tamada dikpe tamata atliga tak ngoedi yores tati ani pajoya ke chimbuchires.
And then he goes on to tell us how to create complete causes and conditions to find a fully characterized, suitable life basis for spiritual development. And the Rinpoche goes on to tell us that we need to purify ourselves of delusions and negativities that we have created. In other words, that whatever negativities that we have created and accumulated physically, verbally, and mentally, basically these negativities are due to our deluded states of mind. So we need to make efforts to purify our mind of delusions and karmic negativities and obscurations.
Tati karresanta pena tan luta nga ta yisuma tamangara tamaba tunzu ani ta changma mewa shen nyoma ben goyde yore jecha tipa changma zoni sendil pa changma ki zo thya sam pangures ta to zodon karresana de are ta nyembo goni ta nyembo tene ta ti thone pa mewa zoich go res kana.
So in other words, our body, speech, and mind at the moment are contaminated. Body, speech, and mind, because our actions of body, speech, and mind are contaminated by delusions. or glaciers in Sanskrit, Nyermong in Tibetan. And so we need to purify our actions. And the way to do that is we need to adopt and cultivate antidotes to counteract our deluded states of mind and to counteract our negative karmic actions.
That legi duba the pas jongres ka nang ina ta ani ti jonga ta ani ki ndawa ki ni de dra ki de thoya ya mar che rembe kale chene pe nye bo te ni kale nye bo te ni pa ta changma zoi ta nge ba de san tong gung dus.
So as we see the need to purify our mind of delusions and karmic obscurations, negativities, of course we cannot hope to do that within a limited period of time. We cannot hope to do that within, say, 1 year, 1 month or 1 week. We really need to approach this in a wise way, in the sense that we have to adopt what is called a steady and consistency in our approach to get rid of delusions and negativities. So slow and steady, if you will, is very important to counteract our delusions and negativities.
Ani jabat he kechembure karesana ranking hema ta tsindel pane ani tsindel plus susia temple deba karasandu te ati nang ye ta chang hama ting hama shinjin ta dejo ani pe dimundu san ta te shen thongres te shen te ni ati chani ngara lega tin dimundu luji goni digwan risandu nga gon digwan risandu hiji gon digwan risandu ta te dimundu sam tel phe shen ta ya tin kechembure.
An essential part of our purification or confession practice is to generate genuine contrition or regret for the negativities that we have accumulated. So when we think about what we have done in this lifetime, we try to remember or recollect negativities that we have done physically, verbally, and mentally, and we sincerely regret for having done those negativities. In other words, we really generate the thought that it's really not good that I have accumulated such negativities. And also based upon our present life experiences, we can infer that in our past lives also, we must have done similar or worse kind of negativities, and we sincerely regret for having done them. And that is an essential component of purification practice. Generating regret for our past mistakes or the negativities is, more than simply saying, I'm sorry, I did such negativities. It's more than that. It's not enough just simply to feel kind of a sorry or feel say, oh, I'm sorry that I made mistakes. Because simply saying kind of a sorry, to ourselves or to the holy beings is not enough, to purify negativities. Yes, that is an important part of our, purification practice.
Ani tin du shebe na ran tan ne ban da ga shegin du ne du shewa shama nyawa la shegin du tin ru shegin du dan yida la shegin du so za ta tin de mun du san ngone to ne ore ta tri so so ani khobe na dong de ji chim bi na do de ba de ya ke ni 다 간디 진에 뜬나 상사기 마또 yen다게 삼바게 야마 뜬 난기고 그랬어. 또 콘지 받아면 잡았는데 와.
So when we develop regret, or when we regret for the negativities that we have done and accumulated, I think it is much more than simply feeling sorry or simply saying sorry, I made mistakes. We should be able to reflect on and understand the consequences of the negativities that we have created and accumulated. We should be able to reflect on the demerits or the faults of negativities. And so we say that because of these negativities, what kind of problems or suffering that I have to encounter, and in this life and also in my future lives, that these negativities could precipitate my rebirth in the unfortunate states. And so when we see the impact of the consequences of negativities, then we really experience sincere, powerful regret, in relation to our negativities. And an example given to illustrate this point is if we had taken poison into our system, how concerned we would be that we will be single-pointedly concerned with that. Okay, now poison has got into my system, and what's the best way or what are the options, with which I can get the poison out of my system. So in the same way, we should have that kind of single-pointed focus and regret for having done negativities of body, speech, and mind to be able to purify them.
두 코페는 침비에 나타난 제바 정보시가 가르에서는 대 시연도 가르 통과에서는 랑 소도 해야 다 통과해서 두디 코반의 침비에 대 왕기다 랑 소도 계획부터 두디 소도 계획부터 하고연전에 다들 디파트야 다디 아니 텔레페야 그 아니 매매다 아니 doctor한테 다 내봐도다 땡고도 제든 난 이신 알아서 शे고였어.
In the case of the example I just gave, if we had taken poison into our system, we will very much regret that it has happened. And our regret is very genuine because of the understanding that, if I don't do something to get the poison out of my system, it's going to kill me. So we know what's going to be the outcome of the poison in our system. What is the danger, if you will, of the poison in our system. And that's why we do everything, go and find a good doctor or go and find the best medication to cure ourselves of the poison. And in the same way, so we have to be able to see the dangers and the consequences of negativities that we have accumulated through our actions of body, speech, and mind, so that we genuinely regret for having done them and we can purify them.
So, 마란소게 코페날 다 두고 쳐내버데 아니 녀모베 다 녀모베 독대 랑 코페나 신에서는 타베 소자 교육이 하러스 타바가 랑 타바토야 소자 교육을 손자 대전다 들 팽야가 땅 해봐도 딴들 저바 잡으시니 들 팽야 땅 멘땅에 해봐도 산땅고.
Now, metaphorically speaking, that delusions that we have inside us, in our system, are really like the poison. So that's why we call them poisonous delusions, which have already got into our system. And if we don't do something here to purify ourselves of delusions, to counteract them, then the danger that lies here is that these poisonous delusions can kill our spiritual life. It can put an end to our chances, and it can destroy our life to be able to attain liberation and enlightenment. So in that sense, it's a very serious matter that the poisonous delusions in our system are so dangerous that they can cut short our life to attain liberation and enlightenment.
So that job de kitchen with Jetson, job was several the job kitchen with him with
So what I'm trying to say through all these things is the power of regret, which is very essential to our purification practice. To be able to purify ourselves of delusions and negativities, we must see the dangers of delusions and negativities, what would be the outcome, and then sincerely regret, develop contrition, for having them and having done the negativities.
Miguel Candice Dali, Miguel Lady, Shen Tony, that Newman be Shen Tony, that Pingini, and Tita be Newman be Wanke, laying over the saga, man, some party in the Domsen Shevota.
And another essential component or element of purification practice or confession practice is that we need to resolve in our mind that from this moment onward, I am not going to give into delusions and repeat the negativities or create the negativities. And so the power of resolution here, that by seeing the dangers of delusions and negativities and sincerely regretting for them, now we generate the power of resolution that I firmly resolve from this moment onward, I'm not going to give into delusions. I'm not going to engage in negativities. So going back to our example here is, once we have found, say, medication to get the poison out of our system, then I think we are going to have that kind of a resolution that hereafter I'm going to see that I don't let poison get into my system. That's that kind of a resolution. Now the same way here, that we regret firmly for the delusions and negativities that we have, and we find antidotes to counteract them, and we firmly resolve that hereafter we are not going to, give into them. So these are the things that we can bring into our everyday life and activities. That let's say when we are interacting with others, this could be in a social setting or at a workplace, and if we happen to do something negativity in relation to the person, then we just remind ourselves and we regret for having hurt someone's feeling or done the negativity, and then we tell ourselves that I will make efforts not to do the same thing again. So in that way, we immediately bring this, kind of practice into our everyday life situations and interactions. So the point I'm trying to make here is how can we put such things into our everyday life situations and practice. Say as we are interacting with our family members or our friends or our neighbors or our co-workers or anybody in the community, and if we find ourselves, speaking to them unpleasantly or hurt them through our speech, or that we behave rudely, unkind towards them, rude behavior, we immediately try to remember our own actions and regret for having said something that hurt someone or behaved in a way that hurt someone, and then we try to resolve in our mind that we are not going to repeat these actions in the future. So if we try to train ourselves or discipline ourselves in that way in every given situation, as we find ourselves making mistakes or doing wrong things, negativities, then a time will come as we get better and better in our discipline and practice and training, a time will come that we will really almost be perfect. That in that we are not going to say, do, or think negatively about others.
No, that is tola ne. That control the shamdushin. That when Sanjay that cheta gindi the shamdushin tapan 2000 ne. And devashe shamdushin. Those things top chang chevres.
And in addition to those two powers, I just briefly explained: power of regret for negativity delusions, power of resolution that we are not going to give in to those things and not to repeat the negativities again. We should also what we call cultivate a trust and faith in the three jewels, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, three Ratnas, as our objects of refuge. We generate faith and trust in them. So this is what we call the power of reliance, Tenjito, which is another essential component, element of our purification practice.
That control the shamdushin at 2010 to machine over. Ya lambical train. Ani cheta shoke gani class edition chobapu. Shani constitution chobapu. Trembashe. Jenny G. Lagan drawing that control chain, that drink pan dogure, anti Shawatan Joanipe, give it Shawati in Rochibaji, that digging some township, that control the shamdushin to 2000. You might pay Linda Jam Ninja of the 10 to 90 triangles.
So I think we should also train ourselves in such a way that we remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha so many times, if possible, throughout the day. Let's say we get up in the morning and we try to reflect on or remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha and generate trust and faith in them. And then maybe later we sit for our breakfast. So before we eat our breakfast, we offer the untouched first part of the food, our breakfast, to Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And then when we go to work, we again remember Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and say that, by your blessings and grace, that I have been able to, be in this kind of wonderful situation, and may my day be meaningful. May I be able to think positively and bring benefits and positive things to others. So we kind of set our motivation that way, and we go to work. So if we could, remember Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, like say 100 times or 200 times, as many times as we could in every day, I think that would really become a very powerful force of practice.
Control the shamdushin, pen yevina, and ye goni pay shivina. Standing conduce a yellow train in cause Niku going into deep Nani, showing Sunny, sure shamadly, didn't dread tongue about the Tapaji touch of the race.
And so throughout the day we try to remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and try to remain very positive. Let's say at night, when we go to bed, if we reflect on Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha and go for refuge in them and generate trust and faith in them. So in that manner, we fall asleep. So throughout our period of sleeping, and even if, let's say, for whatever reason, we die in our sleep, the whole state of mind within which we die becomes a very positive state of mind, and it's almost guaranteed that because of that, we will achieve a good rebirth in our next life. You see, but the power of such a positive thinking, when we fall asleep, our sleep itself becomes positive, and if we were to die in our sleeping state, then it's almost guaranteed that by the power of refuge and positive mind, that we will find a fortunate rebirth. And as we ourselves face certain, personal difficulties and problems, or we witness others facing problems and difficulties, if we can immediately bring to our mind, may Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha take care of us and bless us to be able to, get out of such situation, that would be very wonderful.
That they say, and control some zig, some machine the pay, the Niki Shon, 10 to Bashona, and then here comes to a thing about the control the temper thing about the touch of the brace.
So in our everyday daily activities, if we train ourselves to remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, say we are walking somewhere and we almost stumbled over something and fall down, we remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha and seek their blessings and trust in them. So if we train ourselves to remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha in our daily activities, even the ordinary activities, then through such familiarization, then when the time comes for us to face death, I think it would be it would be easier and for us to be able to remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha at that time.
And just how to Kumata, coffee tavern, the Kasasna, they don't have younger things are going to change somebody. That the naked 10th of a shona, and then Kitaya was there.
So even things like when we are, enjoying a cup of tea or coffee, and maybe the coffee and tea is hot, but somehow it burns our lips. But at that time, you just somehow remember, like, oh my Buddha and Dhamma Sangha, whatever the pain we feel, if we remember Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and kind of seek their blessing and protection, I think that would really help us train ourselves to recollect them.
Kind of saving ouch in the second door. Take it certainly, and Sanji does and then conscious of change the television.
So usually, we kind of have different expressions in different languages, right? When you burn yourself, like ouch or something, English. But instead of saying such whatever meaningless reaction thing, if you can say, oh Buddha, so that really helps,
Yeah, really. I think they might use it,
Yeah, I really mean it, I'm not joking.
Oh, yeah. So that and this, I think when they get to send the like this temper saying about the Sanjay, Sanjay, Genduta, the getting took you at that time, go as it about the tangles.
What I'm explaining now is also a part of what is usually talked about as 6 types of recollection or remembrances, one of which is recollecting a meditational deity or a Buddha. So that also goes well with the practice of those 6 recollections. So as you are driving on the street or the freeway, if you almost hit someone, like you put the brake on, you say, oh Buddha, Dhamma Sangha. Like that, just train your mind to remember and to rely upon Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So that would be very wonderful.
Oh, that is can say, danger top set that the danger top that looks at it. And I never couldn't show top set. tell anytime so Kande Shebata, Shanju Sam Gombata, Tagana Yege, and Niji, Sankela may be Niji Shevata, Sankela may be Shamba Chimbashet, and it's a Nyambukun Shevatop Grace.
So remembering Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha in our everyday life and daily activities, so that would constitute practicing what is called the power of reliance, Tenjitop, an essential component of purification practice. Now, another essential component of purification practice or confession practice is what we call the power of applying antidotes. Now, this is where, when we recite prayers or, we cultivate bodhicitta or great love and great compassion for sentient beings. And so when we generate such positive attitudes and, we do prayers or chanting or all such things, so these constitute what is called applying antidotes to our delusions and negativities.
That's Zunga in the series of Zunga, Oman Pemihungs. Oman Pemihungs, Kulon Chan Mavichin, Oman Pemihosana, Karasa, Gava that case younger what in Kulon Mana in Tigamra, Kulon Yetangru.
So we could also recite, mantras such as the 6-syllable mantra of Chenresik, Arya Avalokiteshvara, Om Mani Padme Hum. Of course, what is really important to reciting the mantra or doing prayers and practice is to cultivate what we call positive motivation, because motivation, plays very significant role in our practice and development, spiritual development. But without any motivation, if we simply say Om Mani Padme Hum, well, there may be some benefit in reciting the holy mantras, but there won't be that much. So positive motivation is a very important part of our practice. So let me briefly explain how do we cultivate positive motivation. And if I explain, this one time, then you will be able to apply it to other, situations and practices. Let's say, we think about, complete enlightened state. That we wish to accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. We generate that kind of altruistic motivation. And then with that motivation, we say, so in order to accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of sentient beings, I'm going to rely upon Chenresik, Arya Avalokiteshvara, and then recite his name mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. So with that motivation, we recite Om Mani Padme Hum, then our recitation becomes very powerful practice. Now the same goes with, the same kind of motivation goes with any other practice we do. So at the beginning, we cultivate positive motivation, such as bodhicitta motivation. Then when we're actually doing the practice, say reciting Om Mani Padme Hum or any other mantra or practice, in the case of reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, we try to focus clearly on Chenresik, Arya Avalokiteshvara, and generate trust and faith in him, and then recite the mantra. And then whatever time we have and we spend on reciting the mantra and remembering Chenresik, Arya Avalokiteshvara, now before we conclude our practice, it is very important for us to do proper dedication of our merit.
gom jabi nan dra gom karijan tishi di pas tembashi Hindu karijan Hindu the temba ta na jo tanda series in chai gan shemen series zonga tang ta tambe gevi zawan dela tene ene sinye tan yo sanji kompa tobe kyo samda de she dedi ke karita de
No.
I think more the shegures.
No. So at the end of our action and practice, right, in the case of reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, the 6th level mantra of charity, so then we dedicate our merit thinking by the power of reciting this mantra, the positive virtue I've created, may I become Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. Or if I'm meditating on any other deity or a practice, or we are reciting prayers and chanting, so then we say by virtue of these prayers and chantings I have done, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that's how we do dedication of our merit.
Dan nanjuni shego bakitan desum kariyasana ngaranzo chö gejo kishun kadiji shebena gom jebena dra hinde shebena nga atambina kare shebena ane jorwa ngoykin juksen tusum bu jongo juksen ngaba sangu gares.
So whatever kind of practice we do, spiritual practice, basic or mediocre, or I should say mediocre, the moderate level of practice or the advanced level practice, or whatever positive actions we do, there are three things that we should keep in our mind. There is what we call jorva, which is the motivation, which literally means preparation, but preliminary. So it's the motivation. Then there's the actual action or the actual practice we do. And then there is the conclusion, which is the dedication. So the proper motivation and good action or proper action and proper dedication, those three things are very important with any kind of practice we do. So if action or practice it fulfills those three, qualities. There is the really proper motivation, proper action, and proper dedication. Then the action or the practice we do really become very powerful, effective action and practice. So, but we also want to understand how these things work with the wrong actions or the negativities. So if those three things are present or complete in a negative action that we perform, then that negative action becomes a very powerful negative action.
Later, and if she has that will not done. That imagine the term to send this year, sometimes Josh. Tango pay cook same the rate that Luna is on Carina to hotel pay same take to day. That's it. On Shevatella, Josh. But and then you done this some business, Shabina. Just that may give the shoot Chambich Chandler.
So in the case of negative karmic actions, at the beginning, we generate this strong, motivation. We say, I must do this negativity. We have every justification and have a strong, deluded motivation to do the negativity. So in the middle, when we actually do the negativity, we pay all our attention to doing it. And it's almost like a single-pointed concentration here. And so in the middle, we do it, as best as we could, with full attention to the negativity. Then at the end, we conclude our negativity with a certain level of satisfaction. I did it, So when all those three things are present, there's a strong delusional motivation, and with full attention to the actual performance of the negativity, and then we conclude it with some sort of rejoicing and full satisfaction. I did it. Then such a negativity, karma, becomes extremely negative karma, powerful bad karma.
다 개회쇼 누디 전때 순간에 창 간도 계집시 매개 레시 전에 디송군은 파다 가시는 파 용어지 아니 그노 땅빙인한테 조가 땅 유인부터 마상하지 다이 조가 총빙이네 그노 땅 유인부터 자된 파된 가리는데 매개 레시 전에 마상하지 셰고레스 답기시 다 개회 레시 중 간데 지게는데 뜻숨부 창하지 셰 당내발 거고.
So when it comes to doing positive actions or positive karmas, we should make every effort to see that all the three phases of our action are complete. In other words, that we try to generate strong positive motivation in the beginning, if possible altruistic motivation. Then when we are performing the positive action, we pay full attention to the action, right? And then at the end, we do proper dedication of our action. So when we do those things, right, then our positive actions become very powerful actions. Our practice becomes very powerful practice. So we try to see that all those three things are present as and when we do positive actions and practice, so that our actions and practice become very effective and powerful. Now, when it comes to doing negativities, of course, in the first place, we should try not to do any negativities, bad karmas. But should we, get involved in doing negativity, then we should see that at least some parts of these three things is not there. Okay, so at the beginning, maybe if we can prevent very strong deluded motivation, that's great. Or if, let's say, our motivation is very strong delusion, but when it comes to doing the negativity, see that we don't really pay much attention to it, or that we don't rejoice at the end of the negativity, or don't feel like, oh, I did it, Somewhere we try to see that, either the motivation or the dedication or the actions are not really completely negative. We try to minimize the intensity of our negative karma. So that's what we should try to do with negativity. See that either the motivation is not there, or if the motivation is there, we don't do the action completely, or if the action is completely, don't rejoice in the action. And so in that way, we can reduce the intensity, the power of negative karmic actions.
Voilà, that is a thing about the generation. Naranjo to sin the Chavina, Tanitari, social count to Tuki, Lu Chavina, and a late debate part. That's the subject of new progress.
So what I have been explaining today is the purification practice, or what is called confession practice, shapa in Tibetan. And so we talked about what are the four essential elements or the components of purification practice. There has to be power of regret for delusions, negativities that we have done or we have accumulated, and the power of resolution that we are not going to let them continue or do them again and again, and then the power of applying actual antidotes to counteract them, and then the power of dedication. So through that, if our purification practice consists of those four elements or the components, then our purification practice becomes very effective practice, and we can purify delusions and negativities. So if we do that kind of purification practice in our everyday life, then we will be purifying a lot of negative karmas and delusions, and then there is really real hope for us to be able to find good rebirths. most suitable life basis to continue with our practice in our successive lifetimes.
Social pay teaching that the young Maris and social pay that correct. That social be that correct. Young Maris and social do some time in a John Chamberagares.
We must not, discourage ourselves by feeling like, no, I can't do it. Don't, discourage and underestimate one's own potentiality. Because then we will never be able to do anything.
So that the next gen, Chishun Karina, co test as a shen shaving, co any take was a Jatsosen. Jansu Chimbo de Tambo Chimbo de Yama, take what Rini, take what Nis in Sani, and Chimbo de Child, then Nanging Aranzo, and then do you kill a girl Chimbo Sama Tuba Ina? That's a Sabi, and that they are cognizant. You and Jansu Chimbo and David, go Jachimbo Saturabos.
So we may not be able to do much practice, but whatever we can do, we should inspire ourselves and develop the courage and keep on doing even the little positive actions or practice that we could do. Because slowly, our actions build up, positive actions build up, and our practice also grows. Okay? So in that way, with the passage of time, we can see that, we are growing so much in terms of spiritual development and practice. We have a saying in Tibetan that the waters in the ocean have not all of come together one time, because we feel that the ocean is nothing but an accumulation of drops of water. So when the drops of water are collected, then with the passage of time, they can produce the great ocean or a sea. So in the same way, we try to do little by little practice that we can do so that we build up our positive actions and karmas, and we build up our practice. So now we will go back to the Lam Rim text where we left off last week.
Yeshi Chamber Rangas, the Chewa Yi, that Lamri Chewa Jigan, that Tamateris, you and Yeshi Chamber Rangas to Chewa Setrins.
And so we have been, dealing with what we call, special features or the characteristics, the benefits of Lam Rim teaching of the stages of path to enlightenment. And the number 4 preeminent qualities of the Lam Rim, or the special characteristics of the Lam Rim, you will, is that based upon Lam Rim understanding, we will be able to kind of almost like automatically, stop doing serious negativities.
So what is this
like a great serious negativity that we are talking about that we will not be doing if we understand Lam Rim? The great serious negativity, which is called great fault, literally translating, great mistake, great fault, this refers to the karma, negative karma of abandoning Dharma. So the negative karma of abandoning Dharma is a serious negativity.
That condition, condition, and Chula Yadu Ten. The Tibachi Chula Yabu, Timmy Chula Yabu Marisian. Tanga de Yabure Dina, and then Doti Yabu Marisian. That the dig Shengu Shevi, that Shengu Rita, and some time can't hear about Tangana single Tony to Shabina. That thing is a Chibungali Saguris.
So now, how might we find ourselves creating and accumulating this serious negative karma of abandoning Dharma, if you ask, how we might end up doing that. What does that karma constitute? Let's say if we make so many, discriminatory statements regarding different aspects of the Dharma. For example, we say, Mahayana teaching is really very holy and precious, but the Hinayana Theravada teaching is so-so, not so profound. If we do think that way, and if we do make statements with regard to that, that may constitute the negative karma of abandoning Dharma. Because we are picking, what we are doing is we are, choosing certain aspects of the Dharma and elevating them, and then we underestimate and put down other aspects of the Dharma. So that is a negativity of abandoning Dharma. Or let me give you another example. If you think that, the Tantric teaching is really very special and powerful, but the Sutrayana teaching is so-so, that's kind of, okay. That kind of mentality, and with that mentality, if we make such statement and claim, then we may create the negativity of abandoning Dharma. So we must not discriminate within the different divisions of the teachings of Dharma.
That's the correct condition. You want the correct, when the sheep is soon and any Tambu Sungalang ever manina seta. When I do in a my tati sheep was a Dandandi, Choa Jig and Tambu Sungatring everything ever gave shivers. They never in and then you were the Chubungale to young Mariscanan.
It is stated here in the text that we should develop definite understanding of the first three preeminent qualities or the special characteristics of Lam Rim. If we understand them, then we will be able to understand this fourth preeminent quality or the unique characteristics of Lam Rim, and then we won't find ourselves creating the karma of abandoning Dharma.
Oh, that's Angela.
Okay.
And Stephen Gelochi in the. Would you like to read something?
We're on page 89, and we're starting the new heading, The Greatness of Allowing You to Easily Discover the True Thinking of the Victorious One. The scriptures and their commentaries are, as I have already said, the best of instructions. Yet you cannot discover the ultimate...
Outline 4, does he? We had been already this distance, I think.
No, this is for...
What is it?
The greatness of allowing you to discover the true thinking of the victorious one. We did have some small bit of it, but this is the more...
Then what I read, okay. Then.
The scriptures and their commentaries are, as I have already said, the best of instructions. Yet you cannot discover the ultimate thoughts of the victorious one merely by referring to these great classics without any instructions from your guru on the stages of the path to enlightenment.
Yeah, that's what I did. Then second, yeah. Ocean and the precious jewels, those I've talked about already.
Yes.
So then you're going, what is it?
So you cannot discover the ultimate thoughts of the victorious one without any instructions from your guru on the stages of the path to enlightenment as your frame of reference.
Yes.
Despite the fact that the subject matter of these classics embodies the victorious one's ultimate thoughts. In order to discover these thoughts from the classics alone, you must grapple with these texts for a long time. If you depend on the Lam Rim, you will easily discover them without such a struggle. Perhaps you are wondering, what are these thoughts of the victorious one? My own precious guru, my refuge and protector, told me that in general they are taken to be the three scopes, but even more importantly, they come down to the necessity of practicing the three fundamentals of the path. This is surely correct. The great Tsongkhapa clarified the victorious one's ultimate thoughts on the correct view. In the three fundamentals of the path, Tsongkhapa said, the appearance that things are mutually interdependent is no illusion, but there are those who understand emptiness to be something devoid of this appearance. As long as these two seem separate to you, you will never realize the thoughts of the Great One. Actually, this is saying that you have not understood the thoughts of the victorious one unless you have realized the correct view.
Okay, just sorry to interrupt you. I think it's, yes. What is it? You read like ocean of the ocean, and also then the precious jewels.
It's the next paragraph. You want me to go through that?
Also, we did already last week. We did already, I think. 말이다 단다 이제 가지고 기봤대지. 코 씹어들라고 그러와. 그럼 기봤 로그가 말이다 단다. that was. No. The fourth subject. I don't know how in that Lam Rim is translated. Are there like a four characteristics of the... I think Geshe wants you to read the passage relating to the fourth characteristic or preeminent quality, as I translated, of the Lam Rim. Which is, by understanding Lam Rim, we do not indulge in great error or great fault. Lam Rim is like a...
Okay, we will...
Lam Rim is like a...
We will be skipping this one section, but it's the greatness of allowing you to save yourself from the worst misdeed is the following page.
Yes, because I thought we talked about this one, Lam Rim is like a boat. Lam Rim is the boat, and then Guru is like the seller. We talked about already, yeah.
Yeah.
That's already last week. Yeah.
Okay. The greatness of allowing you to save yourself from the worst misdeed. Here, the great stages of the path and other texts explicitly teach that you should not do anything that will give you the karma and the resulting obscuration that goes with abandoning the Dharma.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Now, Tenzila. Okay. So, give it as a Yeshe chamber, long, Shangu longer chamber, Tusum shaving, and any Yeshe chamber, that Chebonk Sagmaris. So the fourth, preeminent quality of Lam Rim, or the unique characteristic of Lam Rim, is if we study and contemplate and meditate on the Lam Rim teaching, then we are not going to get involved in a great, creating a great, a serious negativity, or probably in that terms it seems like a misdeed or something. So we are not going to basically indulge in serious negativity of abandoning Dharma. That the Lam Rim chemo dan tende ane ta Lam Rim yen one ane ngoy ten la ngoy stem batal ane chebon ke legit ngoy ak ched ane ta res.
So, that's the preeminent quality of the Lam Rim. So, serious negativity, it literally, explicitly, what it deals with is the negative karma of abandoning Dharma.
다 대양세 개와 당부선을 내가 많이 났어. 아니 저위가라 아니 저위가라 특별 토멘당 시주다 주베 최소 그바 제용기 제바 도마키 제그레스 다 가는 단다 개와 이게 여러분 개와 이게 그나니 개와 당부선 등 내가 내고 그랬어.
So as we mentioned earlier, that it is important for us to develop a good understanding or a definite understanding of the first three preeminent qualities or the unique features of Lam Rim. And if we do have that understanding, then we are not going to make divisions within Buddha Dharma as if there are some part is for teaching or talk about and some parts are for practice or some are this or some are that. We are not going to make such categorizations which may involve abandoning Dharma. Okay, so today we have been focused on talking about the fourth preeminent quality or the feature of Lam Rim. Now let me ask you, do you remember the first three preeminent qualities of Lam Rim? So if we have forgotten the first three, then it would rather be kind of difficult to understand the fourth preeminent quality of Lam Rim. No. So in the monastic setting, when a teacher would ask the students, okay, what are the first three? If the students don't have answer, then the teacher would just simply, won't teach anymore further, and he will just insist that you bring the first three.
That's the four greatnesses of the Dharma, right?
Yeah, there's Tambusum, first three gone already. Tembatanji Gamit of Pichawa. Soramali Dangadin Javichawa. Javi Gumba Deladin Pichawa Sumbuterta.
Okay, read it Sorona Roga. Tambode.
Sora Marine, Tembatanji Gamit of Pichawas.
The first preeminent quality, or I don't know how it's translated in your Lam Rim translation, the special feature of Lam Rim is, based on Lam Rim, we will be able to understand that there is no contradictions or inconsistency in all of Buddha's teaching.
Soramali Dangachavi. Tell any short the page and Charles Gabin, but think the West. Show to Gilang Yorba.
I don't know.
Then but to Gilan Cherky past that and it's gone.
Didn't you put it again?
Tamutere. And
so the first preeminent quality or the special feature of Lam Rim is based upon Lam Rim teaching. We can understand that there are no contradictions in Buddha's teachings or inconsistency, as we would say. Yeah. And do you remember that I use dice, square-shaped dice as an example. How if we understand, one sort of aspect of a teaching, then we were able to see the other aspects of the teaching as if, it's like if you pull one side of the, a square-shaped cloth, you will be pulling all the three sides, other three sides of the piece. And the second preeminent quality or the special feature of Lam Rim is, based on Lam Rim, we understand that every teaching given by Buddha is to be understood as a personal instruction, personal advice. So in other words, that based on Lam Rim, we would be able to understand that even one syllable of Buddha's teaching, such as the syllable na, it really is a personal advice or instruction.
That's somebody, Javi Gomba Deladini Pichawas. That Lanchangyu Lamjaran Badela and it's some Shavana, Javi Gomba Deladini was.
And then the third preeminent quality or the special feature of Lam Rim is, based upon Lam Rim, we can easily discover the real intentions or the thoughts of Shakyamuni Buddha.
That Tambo Sum said, Sumbutele, never never, and any then Yeshimbarangas Chevata, the anything, tell Ante Carse, never near Lil Hagres Canam.
So if we understand, or if we have understood the first three preeminent qualities of the Lam Rim, special features of Lam Rim, then relatively it will be easier for us to understand the fourth feature of the Lam Rim, which is based upon Lam Rim, understanding that we are not going to indulge in a serious negativity or a misdeed, which is abandoning Dharma.
That Tanda Saki Sumbu, Tambu Saki Sumbu telling ever never. Yes, and Javika Naki Jenda Acrese, the Tanisha Menande, Chobong the Sagmares.
So if we have gained a good understanding of the first three preeminent qualities or the features of the Lam Rim, then we are not going to create negativity of abandoning Dharma.
That thing is like Tangating Hema to the Goa Chabina, La Saki, Humasumba, the Chabina, and a Tigwa Toming, Tigwa Toata, Membaka, Chabashin, Tiba Chevala Gashi, Membala Maganda, that and Tang Maris, Kokanzi, Gonzaki, Sang Javi, any Chachin to somebody Hakon was.
So how does that work? If you ask me, is if we understood the significance of the first three preeminent qualities of Lam Rim teaching or the text, then based upon that, we are not going to create a serious negativity of abandoning Dharma. For example, that we are not going to, how to say, pick and choose different aspects of the Buddha's teaching as if, Mahayana is really something great quality and I love it so much, but Theravada or Hinayana is kind of low and down below me and kind of, look down or belittle. So if we do that, we are creating the karma of abandoning Dharma, and we are not going to do that if we have understood the significance and importance of the preeminent qualities, the first three preeminent qualities of Lam Rim.
Yeah, she choose. Karasena, and young camel to some she at the Hituris, but here at the Pakia, Milikia, that she issued in the Rita. Don't I have a chair, Remato Gomje at the Tandik Chet to Maris and Atta Sunket in the Yayan, but that in this 7 that pay Messiah, never sub Chimbo Sagar, Chipungli Sagar.
And also, should someone think about this way and make a statement, you know what? All the profound treatises that we talk about, shastras, these are just for like theoretical kind of a pursuit, just to become a big mouth, just talk about. There's nothing as if the things you study in the profound treatises or shastras are as if not to be put into practice, or you don't need to meditate on them. And so there are people, who make such claims, think that, what you study about those profound texts is just becoming too intellectual and big mouth to talk about. There's nothing to put into practice. That is creating the negativity of abandoning Dharma.
That's a Pangoy Karuana, when Nambe church are my bed, any church, Hamalabe, then young church are chanting, Ranzo, the Jangu Tana, the Tenisha, Kandiji in a Tibachi church, and Donga, Tibachi, Donga, Kandiji in and around Tana, she would take my bed, that's a my bed. And the children can summon be this might be children. Yapore asked something about Tana, Jean Mato, to do charity and Tenisha Giamaris.
So, of course, as a Buddhist, we must not make divisions within Buddha Dharma or categorizations, and as if, say the Tantra is, of high quality teaching, and that's what I love it. And Sutrayana is kind of a basic and kind of belittled down, because that would be creating the negativity of abandoning Dharma. Or we think that Mahayana is something very profound, but that Hinayana is so-so. We should not thinks in such a way and should not make such a statement. And so not only that, as a Buddhist, we need to learn to appreciate and respect all different aspects of Buddha's teaching. Why? After all, Shakyamuni Buddha gave all kinds of teachings or levels of teachings for an individual practitioner to practice from the foundation of the basic level and progress on the paths and grounds to complete enlightened state. So all the things Buddha taught are meant for an individual practitioner to put into practice. So there's nothing to pick and choose, say this is good and that's bad, I don't want it. There's no such thing. So not only do we learn to appreciate and respect all aspects of Buddha's teachings, levels of Buddha's teaching, but we must also today learn to appreciate and respect all kinds of religious traditions, which are also not Buddhist traditions. They are non-Buddhist traditions. We need to appreciate the goodness in other traditions and respect them.
Ngarasu ta yenda chulu yenda la ngarasu tinal penju ke amar yena ngarasu tana jongres ko te da tele ko kanza te da tel chamba ji yungu er jeza pento chembo yungu er jeza ngarasu ke sosu che ke amar yena tele be kita ya ko resani samba ji ngaba shena ya wers gurs.
So, of course, as a Buddhist, we have already got our spiritual path and practice, so we don't need to convert into some other, religions or have to, go and do some other practice. But at the same time, we should learn to respect and appreciate what other religions have got to offer. Because after all, those religions are also fulfilling the needs of, other people, and other people are getting benefited by those religious traditions, and we need to respect that and acknowledge that. And here it is very clearly stated that the negativity of abandoning Dharma is a very heavy, very strong negativity.
Number of the rank any do dipana this kind number papa tangi divin dollars dan dolly canata Jamber Tambi Chupon village Japan Chaos. Getting Jambi and Sanji Pasuni. Tambi Chupon village Japan the guitar trouble tata gigu trouble resan kana.
Shakyamuni Buddha in a sutra, condensed version of the sutra, said, "Oh Manjushri, you should understand that the negativity of abandoning Dharma is very subtle, but it's very powerful negativity."
Karinyasan Jambes, that Jambes getting Jambi and Masoni. And it the Yikika, Ninzu Yakore, the Yikika, Ninzu Yabu Mundus and that is Shavena, Chipong Reskana, Tangi Husar.
And as I explained to you before, here Buddha tells Manjushri, should someone say that this part of Buddha's teaching, Tathagata's teaching is good and noble, this part of the Buddha's teaching is bad, not good, then such a person is creating the negativity of abandoning Dharma.
The law machine that thing all Magusi and Samna that they that Chibunk Lake Zone of Charo, they are going married.
And even if one does not think like, that certain aspect of Buddha's teaching is good, that I want it, or certain aspect of Buddha's teaching is bad, bad. But if someone says, I don't want to practice that aspect of Buddha's teaching, that may also be very similar to abandoning Dharma.
Currently, humanity. The issue that Chubong lay sang it again, Chul Kobatabina, the issue that type of tension to where is gonna.
So, if a person belittles any aspect of Buddha's teaching, then he is or she is also belittling Buddha himself.
That church and Sanjay Kobatabin, Gindulani Kobatavati, tension to where is gonna.
So, if Dharma is belittled, so is Buddha, and so is Sangha.
Then this is and then the report, then the report here, Senna Chipon was that in the bush. Then the Sanju Saban the Ched Sumbo, then the entire Ched Sumbo, he said, Chipo Oze. That's Sanju John did the when I didn't entire corner, yet you don't somebody. Then the watch you don't get so good, my son. Then I shall get somebody somebody, until some Yammer said that, and dig Cheba Jabina, that Chipon race cannon.
And it's stated here that should someone make a statement like, oh, these part of the Buddha's teaching are really taught for the Sharvagas or the hearers, and Bodhisattvas don't need to practice them. But this part of the Buddha's teaching are taught for the Bodhisattvas, so Sharvagas and Bodhisattvas really don't need them. If we make such statement, that would constitute abandoning Dharma.
That Chipon Saban Lava Mine case and Chupon in the case. Chupana, the nearby hit the kill and the thing is javelin. That did it. Chupon late in nearby chamber with Junsi, the only thing is the thing is javelin and song those.
So, if one were to abandon Dharma, it would be a very serious negativity, and that has been talked about or mentioned in the King of Concentration Sutras or Samadhi Raja Sutra.
And the Kankis, Kansakis, Zambil Dernes, Chetan Tankin Jigipas. Zambil, you have a Chetan Samahiba, making Chebong Lesab and Shinganata, Chebong Lesab, they would Zapchegris Ghana.
In a King of Concentration Sutra or Samadhi Raja Sutra, it is said that should someone abandon Dharma or create the negativity of abandoning the Dharma, that negativity is much more serious than if a person were to destroy all the stupas or the temples throughout the world.
Yeah. Kangi Dodi Ponje, but Digwatin Che Paz. Kangi Shenye, Dachun Saber Chuba. Oh, the Juba. Kangi Dodi Ponje, but Digwatin. That make Kikia. Any Dachumba Savada. Dachun Saber. Dachumba Savatan and Dodi Pumani Chiginina, and then Dodi Pon the what's up Chigris Kanam.
And in the same sutra, it is said that should someone abandon Dharma, that negative karma would be much more serious than someone who kills an Arhat or Arahant.
When I read that, when the time Church and the Ripa, Chonjan, Chonjak, then the Shabin, not to Chupongli Sagar.
And also, should someone do business with the Dharma, that would constitute abandoning Dharma.
Oh, that any Chupong Lesa, Tapen and racing the one. And in him that a talit nation. At this on the talit location, but his that the she's a good since I get that.
No, okay. So so those are very important things to keep in mind, and it is already 9, and we will stop there today.
Kanji Kandina Dama Jang was Chamalo. Kandiki in the Chu Rang Tuba in and Damasuba in the Kari in the that the Haran is Shevre, Maranga Tuna Kimaro Sambashin Pet Dama Jones, Shana Yahuers, Sanjik Zombi, got the thank you, Wonder Kariki in Zilla.
So an important point to remember is that if we can cultivate what we call appreciation of Buddha's teachings, even if we couldn't practice something, we say, I'm not able to practice it now, but I hope to be able to practice it someday. And if we cultivate appreciation and respect to and for all different levels or aspects of Buddha's teaching, so that would be very wonderful.
That any church and they put it down, and they can pang gum you shave it down, and it's a democrat my Java and they pay. Could you never shave in that? You should only sound of hers.
So if we are being very disrespectful to the Dharma, say if we put the Dharma text just barely on the floor, without any protection or walk over Dharma textbooks and the Dharma books, that would constitute abandoning Dharma.
That
would be similar to the negativity of abandoning Dharma.
Yes. That thing, and thing it's an tag. Narazagi Karasegore. Kunigan Taba and Rismashi, that Chulu conditions, Zulupe, Tana Jongris Kanango, that turning around of thinking you just lugubrious.
As His Holiness the Dalai Lama often reminds us in his public teachings that we should learn to appreciate all kinds of religious traditions, and so that we respect, all religions and traditions. So that's very important. That's what we need to keep in our mind and try to, put that into practice.
That won't take that you say, you might let me around the show with teacher and the Kali.
So we will live there and continue next time. And Geshe said, he will have to speak in his English, and then you will have more challenges.
Yeah. What say? Nyama, portrait to your never see your
okay.
It looks like it. Could Hamagoshi.
Okay.
Because it's the everything is that the young woman do.
Ladeke.
Hot, Sente.
Ladep. Yeah, I think one time maybe Geshe must be pronouncing, not pronouncing clearly the fault. So he must have been saying something like pot, and everybody's hearing like a pot. What is a pot, So actually he was talking about the pot.
Okay. Tang another church initiative gave us a lot in Saji Temper that you in the Nebata. This is the one to play happy temper to gender the mail 100. And then I don't get job woman 27 is in the Bata. Girija come to the kingdom and typical to the kingdom to the total than Bemi 100.
So let us dedicate our collective merit for the flourishing of Dharma, the source of benefits and happiness throughout the universe. May His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all other great holy masters live long and be successful in fulfilling their visions benefiting sentient beings. May spiritual communities throughout the world and spiritual practitioners from all traditions remain healthy, harmonious, and be successful in fulfilling their spiritual aspirations. May these and other world environments be free of all kinds of unwanted pains and problems, and may beings find peace, happiness, prosperity, and spirituality. In short, we dedicate our merit, positive energy, for all kind mother sentient beings to be free from the fears and dangers of two types of mental obscuration, and may we all become Buddhas soon.
Sensual Ramboche, Maje Bono, Shejuroche, Sheba Nyamba, Mepa Tang, Kone Kondo Peor, So Tonya Tawa Ramboche, Maje Bono, Shejuroche, Sheba Nyamba, Mepa Tang, Kone Kondo Peor, So Kara Kore Shingamante, Malu June. Sangwa Tenze Jatsu Ye Jabe Sende Bando Lenjo Je Shoye Mendo Rido Lenje De Sanje Jendo Dokwe Namda Hinglo Shebar Sho Edam Guru Namando Koni Andayame Lost like you are
lost can. That's about the number I'm looking.
La.
That's about the same.
That window.
Let's.
Step. Do you mark already? Yeah. Okay.
Mark, yeah. Right below the suit.
This
we just did.
That's good. Hey.